All right, Jalen Gilkey. I mean, listen, I should have asked you what the fifth thing that would surprise you tonight was. So, Ted McMillan of the Panthers, your immediate thoughts.
Well, when we spoke earlier, I said I would be surprised if the Panthers guy, Jalen Walker, who we all thought was the Panthers guy, was still available at 8, if they would pick. Jalen Walker was available at 8, and he was not the pick. It's Teteroa T-Mac McMillan, a guy who dazzled during his 3 years at Arizona, one of the most electrifying players in college football, not due to his athleticism or speed, but just because of his playmaking ability, the way he's able to just go up and get the ball. I know you mentioned it already. Very much so a Mike Evans build type player, and if that's what Carolina's getting, then I'm sure GM Dan Morgan and head coach Dave Canales will be thrilled with that type of production, because we've seen firsthand for many of years how dangerous and deadly Mike Evans could be when he's in the lineup. So if T-Mac is able to even replicate a tenth of, Mike Evans' Hall of Fame career, I think that's a very solid pick for the Carolina Panthers here to give Bryce Young another weapon to work with.
Yeah, so this is very interesting from a couple of standpoints, Jalen. Obviously, defense was a need, but this is a general manager who was a Pro Bowl linebacker and was probably gritting his teeth when he watched that defense for 17 games last year, and now he spends, for the second straight draft, a first-round pick on a wide receiver. So what do you think this says about the Panthers' belief in their current receiver room, and specifically last year's first-round pick, Xavier Legette?
That's a great question. I'm glad you asked me this, because as soon as I saw that T-Mac was going to be the pick, my instant thought was, wow, it does not look like Dan Morgan and this Panthers front office, it does not look like they believe in Xavier Legette to be a viable option going forward as a wide receiver. We still got Adam Thielen, who will most likely be the leading receiver, but he'll be in a more number 2 role, and then the rookie sensation who emerged last year, Jalen Coker, he'll probably take over as that primary number 1 target. Maybe they'll do a 1A, 1B type situation. But now it looks like Xavier Legette was going to be in that second to third row. Now he may be on the outside looking in, maybe reduced to a special teams role specifically, if he's going to be able to get on the field, because as we know, the Panthers come out a lot of 3 receiver sets. Not sure how much 4 receiver sets we'll see from this Carolina Panthers squad. So it's very interesting. It clearly looks like this organization is not 100% backing or feeling or agreeing with the decision last year to take Legette, and they doubled down. Or maybe it was just a move where the guys say, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is our best player on the board. Let's take the best player off the board. I'm never opposed to that. I just think that's the best way to build your team. I know a lot of guys or a lot of organizations like to look at it and say, oh, what do we need? What's our need? I think that's how you kind of end up in a little bit of trouble drafting for need, because it presents yourself as thirsty, right? You're trying to fit in a piece that may not fit exactly what it is that you guys like to do, or maybe he's just not projected to be the best guy on the board. And if you got a guy that you think can be instant impact, go get him.
All right, so man, I do think it just speaks to, as we see the board play out, and you watch it too, like Mason Graham going off to the Browns. That was probably a gut punch to that Panthers war room, because I think they probably would have picked him if he was there, and clearly they wouldn't have picked Jalen Walker if it were Graham and Walker. And then the report from Adam Schefter that Dan Morgan was on the phone, trying to trade back. So it does seem to me like they felt like they were in that stuck position. Do you think that's kind of how they felt in that moment there in the last 20 minutes?
Absolutely, Nick. I tell you what, Dan Morgan spoke about it previously last week about being stuck. And, he tried to walk it back and say that's not what he meant, or, the proper verbiage to be using at the moment. But when the board shook out, it looks like that's exactly what happened. The Panthers felt like they were stuck between their guy and making a move, possibly getting an offer. They knew they weren't going to get a haul like Cleveland got from Jacksonville. So why not take the best guy on the board? And when you're stuck with a guy like Ted McMillan, who's everyone's comp is Mike Evans, I think that's a pretty good player to be stuck with. Now, I know he does lack a little bit on the athleticism, speed side. when it comes to verticality, well, not verticality, excuse me, left and right when you move east and west, but guess what? Let's get up and down the field. That's what we're trying to do. We need a big playmaker in Carolina, and he has that ability to go get the ball at the point of attack. He's got strong hands, comes down with a lot of contested catches. All 3 seasons, well, excuse me, 2 of his 3 seasons in Arizona, he finished with more than 1,300 yards. All 3 of his seasons in Arizona, he had more than 8 touchdowns. So we're looking for that type of production, points on the board, not necessarily yak.
Great stuff, Jalen. All night, you were riding that first-round roller coaster right there with us. I know you got some duties on WFMY tonight. Can't wait to see y'all there. And I know you guys are going to have Jalen Walker, and we hope he goes off the board soon as well. But it did not happen for the Carolina Panthers. So, Jalen Gilkey, thank you, man. Appreciate you. And